Well, first of all, my father, my grandfather was a gamekeeper. My father was a fine shot, my big brother was a fine shot. I took up shooting when I was 14 years of age and got on to work to shoot for Scotland and Great Britain. So when Rolex suggested that they have an event to celebrate my life and my career in sport, I said, well, if we're going to have it to do with motorsport, I obviously want to have the memory lane of my shooting career was an important part of learning how to be a top sportsman. So shooting's still very close to me, and this is a new shooting facility. It's never been here before, so we'll probably have this again in a bigger and better way. So I love my shooting, I always have done, and you know, my motor racing obviously was the most important part of my, let's say, sporting life. But shooting's still up there. In shooting I learned something, that I had to remove emotion, because when you start getting uptight in a big event, for example, you could put your gun up, make a mistake, and you miss the target. You never get it back. You're always going to have 99 out of 100 at the very best. I learned to completely remove emotion in a racing car. It came from my experience as a shooter, and I won most of my races in the first 5 laps because most everybody else is uptight and concerned, and in those days when I was racing it was considerably more dangerous than it is today. So I learned a lot from my shooting, and therefore removing emotion was a big part of that, and that's down to shooting. I've always believed that you've got to have the best kit. There's no point of the best driver of having a bad car. So Eley were a very good ammunition for me, and I worked with them for a long time, and I carried their brand and so forth. That was one of my first commercial relationships, was in fact with Eley. So no, it's been a very good and long relationship. A lot of people now go game shooting as well as trap shooting. And it's a good recreation. It's demanding. You miss, you don't get it back, so you've got to keep your head together, and people like it. So clay pigeon shooting, in fact, is something that I still very much enjoy doing, and putting an event such as this with the very best shots, not just from Scotland here, but from around Great Britain, and we've got a couple or 3 or 4 Italians shooting as well. And I think as we go on next year we'll have more nationalities shooting. So shooting, as I say, had a big part to do with my life, and that's why I thought it was a nice idea. Apart from the Concorde d'Elegance, apart from the Formula 1 cars that are here and all the fancy folk and cars, the shooting is part of my beginning, really.